Some songs died the day they were born. No airplay, no fans, no hope. The band walked away in silence. They thought it was over, but years later the world found that song again.
So good. I want to make a feel alright.
It came back. It climbed the charts. It became a legend. You think a hit is born great. You're wrong. Some hits are born as failures and rise from the ashes.
Even though he won't.
10 rock songs, 10 deaths, 10 resurrections. This is the story rock history tried to bury. Stay with us. Number 1 will break your heart. Number 10, the Isley Brothers, Twist and Shout. Picture this, a small studio, cheap microphones, tired musicians who had already been turned down more times than they could count. Nobody in that room believed they were about to touch something that would live forever. This song did not start with the Isley Brothers. It started with a group called the Top Notes. They cut it first, back in the very early 60s, in a rushed session with a producer who did not really understand the song. It came out flat. It came out stiff. The label pushed it out the door and then walked away from it. No airplay, no sales, no second chance. Some people in the business even called it a dead song, one of those tracks you record and forget by the next week. Then in 1962, the Isley Brothers picked it up and refused to let it stay dead. They took it into the studio and gave it everything they had left in their bodies. Real sweat, real shouting. A lead vocal pushed so hard it sounded like it might tear apart at any second. Some who were in the room that day say the song was basically cut in one take, because after singing it that hard, there was no voice left to try it again. The song became a dance floor anthem across America. It got airplay it never had before. Years later, a young band from Liverpool heard it and fell in love with it. You know them, the Beatles. Their cover became a worldwide sensation. And it is the version most people today think of first. Here is why the original gets forgotten. The Beatles version got so big, so fast, that it swallowed the story that came before it. Most fans today have no idea that a full recording of this song had already failed once and been reworked into something raw and desperate by a band nobody was watching yet. That is the sad part of music history. The first try gets buried under the bigger name that comes after it. But without that first flop, without that discarded Top Notes version, the Isley Brothers might never have had a broken song to save. This is the sound of a song that refused to die twice. Let's keep going. There is more heartbreak ahead, and more redemption too. Number 9, the Rolling Stones. Time is on my side. Close your eyes for a second. Feel that slow guitar line crawl in. Feel the ache in that voice, like someone standing by a window, waiting for headlights that never come. This is a song about patience, about believing someone will come back to you, even when every sign says they will not. This song was not born with the Rolling Stones. It was written for other artists first, and one of the earliest and most powerful versions came from a soul singer named Irma Thomas. Her recording had real emotional weight, but it never broke through nationally. It stayed mostly known to soul and R&B listeners, never crossing over the way it deserved. Then the Rolling Stones tried it. And here is the part most fans do not know. They actually recorded it twice. The first version, cut quickly, felt rushed and thin. It came and went almost without notice. Critics were unimpressed. Radio barely touched it. For a band still trying to prove themselves in America, it felt like one more disappointment in a string of them. So they went back into the studio a second time. Slower tempo, heavier feeling, more space between the words, like the singer was really aching instead of just performing. That second version, released in 1964, connected in a way the first one never did. It became one of their first real hits on American radio and helped open the door for everything that came after for this band. Here is something people forget completely. This song was almost left off the record entirely. Producers debated whether it was even strong enough to be a single. They almost buried the very song that would become one of the band's breakout moments in the United States. Why did the story fade over time? Because history only remembers winners. Most fans only know the final polished version that hit the charts. The failed first take, the version that came and went with barely a whisper, got wiped from the story completely, like it never happened at all. That is the truth about rock and roll that nobody puts on the greatest hits album. Sometimes you fail, then you fail again, and only then does the world finally listen. Stick with us. The next one comes from a band that almost never got the chance to try twice.
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Every story you see here takes hours of digging, piecing together history, and bringing forgotten moments back to life. If you'd like to support that work, you can become a channel member. It's just the cost of a cup of coffee, but it helps us keep these stories alive, and for that, we're grateful. Number 8. Jefferson Airplane. Somebody to Love. Feel that pounding drum roll in like thunder before a storm. Feel that voice cut through, sharp and desperate, like someone shouting across a crowded room just to be heard. This song is about loneliness in a world that promises connection, but rarely delivers it. It is about needing someone real when everything around you feels fake. Here is the twist most people never learn. This song was not first sung by Jefferson Airplane at all. It began with a band called The Great Society, out of San Francisco, around 1965. Their version had real energy, real rawness, but it barely made it past the local clubs. Small label, small budget, a recording that sounded more like a rough sketch than a finished song. Outside of a handful of West Coast listeners, almost nobody heard it. Then something happened that changes everything in this story. The singer from that struggling band left. She joined a different group, one already building a name in the growing San Francisco rock scene. She brought this song with her. Like a piece of unfinished business, she refused to let go of. In 1967, Jefferson Airplane released their version, and it exploded. It became one of the loudest, boldest anthems of the entire psychedelic rock movement. Radios across the country played it until it felt like it was everywhere at once. Fun fact: that original recording with The Great Society was so rough that some who heard it assumed it was just a demo, never meant for release at all. Nobody in that room could have guessed it was about to become one of the defining songs of a whole generation, just with a different band's name attached. Why did the first version get erased from memory? Because The Great Society quietly broke up not long after. No big label push behind them. No reissue campaign. No documentary crew showing up to tell their side. Their version simply faded into dusty record bins, while the second version, louder and better funded, became the legend everyone remembers. One voice carried this song from a failing band into music history. Two bands, one incredible voice, one beginning that almost nobody remembers. We are just getting started. There is still a long road ahead, and it gets even more emotional from here. Number 7. Question Mark and the Mysterians. 96 Tears. Feel that eerie organ line creep in, almost like a ghost walking through the room. Feel the ache in every single word. This is a song about heartbreak curdling into something darker, about tears that come back around to haunt the person who caused them. This band was not signed to some big fancy label with connections and money. They were a small group of mostly teenagers from Michigan, many of them children of migrant farm-working families. They had almost nothing behind them, no industry contacts, no studio budget worth mentioning. They scraped together enough to record this song on their own tiny independent label, in a setup that barely counted as a real studio by industry standards. At first, this song barely moved outside their hometown. Big radio stations ignored it completely. Larger labels heard it and dismissed it as too rough, too strange, too amateur to matter. It felt, for a while, like it might just sit there forever. Another homemade record nobody outside a small Michigan town would ever hear. Then local DJs started spinning it anyway, almost out of stubbornness, because they believed in it even when nobody else did. Word spread town to town. A bigger label eventually took notice and picked it up for wider distribution. By 1966, against every single expectation stacked against it, this song shot all the way to #1 on the national charts. A homemade record, built by unknown teenagers with almost no money. Beat-out songs recorded in million-dollar studios with full orchestras behind them. Here is the fun fact that makes this even sweeter. That eerie, haunting organ sound everyone remembers did not come from some expensive studio instrument. It came from a cheap, low-budget keyboard, the kind nobody expected to produce something so iconic. That cheap little sound became one of the most recognizable moments in 60s rock. Why did people forget the hard struggle behind this song? Because once it hit #1, the story of broke teenagers recording in a makeshift studio got buried under the shine of chart-topping success. Success has a strange way of erasing the hard road that built it in the first place. People remember the trophy. They forget the years of nobody caring. Never underestimate a song built in a garage by kids nobody believed in. Number 6. The McCoys. Hang On Sloopy. Feel that guitar riff kick in. Fast and simple and full of pure teenage fire. This is a song about loving someone the world looks down on, and standing by them anyway, no matter what anyone else says about it. This band was young, barely out of high school, from a small town in Indiana, playing bar gigs to crowds that barely noticed them. Before this recording, they had almost nothing going for them. No hits, no real record deal worth mentioning. Just a group of kids with instruments and a dream that seemed, most days, completely unrealistic. The song itself was not even new when they got to it. Other artists had already recorded versions of it earlier in the decade, and none of those versions went anywhere significant. It had already failed once, maybe twice, before these teenagers ever touched it. Then in 1965, producers pulled this young, unknown band into the studio and let them cut a fast, punchy version, full of youthful energy that older, more polished bands simply could not fake. It shot straight to #1 that fall. A band of teenagers, some of them barely able to legally get into the clubs they were playing, beat out seasoned professionals with years of experience behind them. Fun fact: the lead singer was still practically a kid when he recorded that vocal. And everybody, yeah, tries to put my Sloopy down. And several studio players openly doubted the song, thinking it was too simple and too basic to ever connect with a wide audience. They were completely wrong, and the song proved that sometimes simple is exactly what people are hungry for. Why did this story fade from memory over the years? Because the band never managed to repeat that level of success again. One massive hit, and then mostly quiet after that. When an artist does not follow up with another big moment, the world tends to move on fast, And it forgets just how hard that first climb really was, and how many closed doors came before that one big opening. One shot, one song, one unforgettable piece of history, carried by teenagers nobody expected to win. We are halfway through this countdown. Which song has hit you the hardest so far? Drop it in the comments below. I really want to know. Number 5. Buffalo Springfield. For What It's Worth.
There's something happening here.
Feel the tension in that opening guitar note. Sharp and uneasy, like something is about to break. This song is about people standing on a street corner, watching their world shift under their feet, and not knowing what to do about any of it.
Ain't exactly clear.
This song almost did not exist the way we know it today. The band already had an album out, and it was not selling well at all. The label was losing patience, already looking past them toward other acts that seemed more promising.
Man with a gun over there, telling me.
It felt, for a moment, like this band's story might end quietly, without much notice from anyone outside a small circle of fans. Then real unrest broke out on a street in Los Angeles. Curfews, crowds.
I got to beware. I think it's time we stop.
Tension boiling over between young people and police in a way that shook the whole neighborhood. One of the band's members watched it happen and wrote this song almost overnight as a direct, urgent reaction to what he had just witnessed with his own eyes. It was rushed out onto the radio, and at first it barely made a dent.
Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Just another single from a band that was already struggling to be noticed. Then, slowly, station by station, city by city, it began to catch fire. By 1967, it had become one of the defining protest songs of the entire decade, even though the band itself would barely survive much longer after that moment. Fun fact, this song almost got left off the album completely. It was added late, almost as an afterthought, something tacked on at the last minute, rather than planned as the centerpiece it would eventually become. Why did people forget how close this song came to disappearing entirely? Because once it became an anthem, nobody wanted to remember that it almost never made it out the door.
Lines being drawn, but nobody's right.
History likes to smooth over the near misses and pretend everything was destined from the start. It was not. It hung by a thread.
If everybody's wrong, young people.
A song born from fear on a street corner became a voice carried by an entire generation. Number 4. The Stone Poneys. Different Drum. Feel that gentle strum settle in, quiet but confident. Feel the courage underneath that voice. This is a song about a woman telling a man she loves him, but she is not ready to be tied down to him. Bold, honest words for a time when women were rarely allowed to say things like that out loud in a popular song. This group struggled hard before this moment arrived. Small folk clubs, small, half-filled crowds, no real chart success to speak of. The lead singer, a young woman with a powerful, clear voice, has talked about coming close to walking away from music entirely more than once, because nothing seemed to be working no matter how hard she pushed. This particular song was not even written by anyone in the band. It came from outside the group, and once it got reworked with strings and a fuller, richer sound behind it, everything changed. In 1967, it became a surprise hit, and it turned that young singer into a genuine star almost overnight.
It's true, boy, do you cry and more.
It also helped launch one of the most respected and enduring voices in American rock and country music for decades to come. Fun fact: the rest of the band was barely involved in the final version that made it to radio. Session players and a producer built most of the finished sound around her voice alone, which meant the actual group, the one that had struggled together for years, was mostly pushed to the side in the moment of their biggest success. Why did this song fade from common memory over time?
I've got my doubts. You can't see the forest for the trees.
Because the band broke up not long after, and the singer's later solo career became so massive, so towering, that it completely overshadowed where she actually started. People remember the star she became.
So don't get me wrong.
They forget the struggling little group that gave her the first real spark. Sometimes the beginning gets erased by the sheer size of what comes after it. Number 3. The Outsiders. Time Won't Let Me.
Can't wait forever.
Feel that urgent horn line rush in, like a clock ticking too fast. Feel that racing rhythm underneath it, like a heartbeat that will not slow down. This song is about a man torn between the girl he loves and the clock working against him every single second.
Even though he won't.
This band came out of Cleveland, playing local clubs for years with almost no attention from anyone outside their own city. They released earlier singles before this one, and every single one of them went nowhere. Doors kept closing in their faces.
Me too. I can't.
Bigger, better-funded bands got the spotlight, the radio time, and the magazine covers, while this group played to half-empty rooms night after night, wondering if their moment would ever come. Then, in 1966, this song, built on tight, punchy horns and a driving, relentless beat, finally broke through.
Wait forever to know.
It cracked the top 5 nationally, and it gave this hard-working, overlooked local band their one shining moment on the biggest stage in American music. Fun fact: that horn section almost got cut from the final mix entirely. The producer worried it made the song sound too busy, too cluttered, and nearly stripped it out before release.
If you be true.
It stayed in against that hesitation, and it became the song's most memorable, most recognizable signature sound. Why is this song mostly forgotten today? Because the band could never repeat that level of success again.
Time won't let me. Time won't let me.
No major label push followed. No lasting national fame stuck around. One hit, and then years of struggle returned right behind it. Radio moved on quickly to bigger, flashier names, and this gritty, hard-working Cleveland band slipped quietly into the background of rock history, remembered by only the most dedicated fans. They had one moment, and they made every second of it count. Number 2. Them. Gloria.
Tell you about now, baby. You know she comes around.
Feel that simple, driving riff lock in, over and over, almost hypnotic. Feel the raw shout in that voice, desperate and impatient. This is a song about a man standing outside in the dark, waiting, watching for a girl he cannot stop thinking about.
Just about 5'4".
This Irish band recorded this song and released it as a B-side, meaning it was not even the main song the label was trying to push. Nobody at the label truly believed in it. In their own home country, it did not climb very high on the charts at all.
I'm from my head to the ground. You know,
It felt at the time like just another forgettable track that would fade quietly into the background. The kind of song that gets pressed onto vinyl and then simply disappears. But something strange and wonderful happened next.
comes around here. I did the bad midnight.
American garage bands and young rock groups all across the country discovered this song, almost by accident, passed around through cheap import records and late-night radio. They started covering it in bars, in basements, in high school gymnasiums.
She make me feel so good, love.
Everywhere young musicians gathered to learn their craft. It became one of the most covered rock songs of the entire decade, even though the original barely made a dent where it first came out.
She make me feel alright.
Fun fact: the song is built on just 3 simple chords, something almost any beginner guitar player could learn to play in a single afternoon. Yet that simplicity became exactly why it spread so fast. It was easy enough for young, hungry bands everywhere to grab hold of and make their own.
Name is G. Ow. Whoa.
And it became a foundation stone for rock music for generations after. Why did the original fade into the background while the countless covers took over the spotlight? Because it was buried on the flip side of a single, never pushed the way it truly deserved to be. The world discovered its real power almost by accident, through other bands playing it in smoky little clubs, long after the original had already quietly slipped by unnoticed. A forgotten B-side became something close to a rock and roll Bible, studied and copied by musicians who never even knew where it truly began. We are deep into this story now. Thanks for staying with us this far. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a deep dive like this one.
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Every story you see here takes hours of digging, piecing together history, and bringing forgotten moments back to life. If you'd like to support that work, you can become a channel member. It's just the cost of a cup of coffee, but it helps us keep these stories alive, and for that, we're grateful. Number 1. The Kingsmen. Louie Louie. Feel that sloppy, wild garage sound crash in, loose and unpolished. Feel the mystery hiding inside that voice. This is a song about a sailor far from home, missing the woman he loves, told through lyrics that sound almost like a secret nobody could quite make out. Now, earlier in this video, we told you something big was coming. Here it is. This song was recorded fast and cheap in 1963, in a single afternoon, on a budget so small it barely counted as a real professional studio session by industry standards. The singer leaned into one lonely microphone hanging from the ceiling, positioned awkwardly above the band. His voice came out muffled, slurred, almost swallowed by the noise of the instruments around him. At first, this recording did almost nothing at all. It sat quietly on shelves, just another regional garage rock single with no real marketing push behind it, easy to overlook completely. Then the controversy began. People started whispering that the mumbled, unclear lyrics were secretly hiding dirty, obscene words underneath all that noise. Concerned parents began complaining loudly to anyone who would listen. Some radio stations, worried about backlash, refused to play the song at all, pulling it from their rotation out of caution. In interviews over the years, band members have consistently said the actual lyrics were always innocent, simply telling the story of a sailor longing for home. But because the vocals sounded so unclear, so buried under the instruments, rumors spread fast, faster than anyone could control or correct. There are different versions of the story about exactly what happened next. Some say concerned parents wrote letters directly to government officials, demanding action. Others say local authorities simply reacted to rising public pressure and complaints piling up. What we do know for certain is that a federal investigation was formally opened into this song's lyrics. Investigators actually slowed the tape down, studying it line by line, word by word, desperately trying to uncover hidden obscene language buried inside the recording. They found nothing. After all that time, all that effort, all that manpower spent on a single garage rock song, officials closed the case completely, with no charges filed and no proof of anything obscene ever discovered. But here is the twist that changes everything. All that noise, all that controversy, all that public panic, did something no advertising budget in the world could ever have accomplished on its own. It made the entire country curious. People wanted to hear this supposedly banned song for themselves, just to judge it firsthand. Sales shot up dramatically. Radio stations that had once refused to touch it suddenly started playing it constantly. Almost as if the ban had never happened at all. The song climbed high on the national charts and became one of the most famous, most instantly recognizable rock and roll recordings in American history. This is why this song is not just music. It is history. A cheap, one-afternoon recording, dismissed at first as sloppy and forgettable, became legendary precisely because people tried so hard to silence it. The controversy did not destroy this song. It built its legend forever, cementing its place in rock history in a way a clean, uncontroversial release never could have managed. That is the strange power of rock and roll. Sometimes the very thing meant to bury a song completely is the exact thing that makes it immortal.